speaking of Democrats saying "hold my beer," I feel like they're going to just double down on everything bad. And I'm thinking specifically, you've been very outspoken against lockdowns, but Joe Biden, in what I thought was a fairly ominous message, he's like, this is going to get a lot worse before it gets better. Mm-hmm. And I feel like he's paving the way for a radical federal expansion of power in a pretense of protecting us from the virus. What do you think? What do you think the biggest threats are coming down? Is that the one, or is that just what I'm fixated on?
I think that is one of several that I think is coming our way. And I'm going to back up for 1 second to say why those small business shutdowns and lockdowns that are being caused by all levels of government. It's not just the locals, right? It's local, state, and federal. And why federal? Because federal is messaging it and then offering
There's a lot of hectoring from the federal bureaucrats like Fauci.
Correct. And also with a false notion that the federal government can prop them up and sustain them. And they can't. You can't sustain this multi-trillion-dollar economy that sustains the world. And by the way, side note, we obviously are so much concerned about the several 100,000 people in this country that have been impacted by the virus. You read reports of 150 million people worldwide who might starve because our economy isn't cranking out what it normally would crank out. There are consequences to these decisions. There are consequences to constraining the ability of American people to use their own judgment to make these calls. A business can make a decision about masks. A group of people in schools and businesses can make decisions about how to protect themselves. Why? They're self-interested human beings. We do not need the government from Washington throwing out all of these constraints on us to make decisions for our own well-being. And that's what we're seeing. And I just got an email right before we came on here, local business called Austin Pizza Garden, a few miles from where I live, where we used to go all the times, right across from the baseball fields where my son plays Little League, to go eat pizza. It's shutting down, right? It was a restaurant, Shady Grove. I went there the day after my wife and I got married, shutting down. I could go after business after business after business. Threadgill's in South Austin, where my wife and I had a rehearsal dinner, it shut down.
And they're not coming back.
They're not coming back. And these are institutions that are the fabric of our society. It's where we go to have a beer and come together, which is also dividing us further. And that's shredding who we are as a people, shredding the small businesses that are the backbone of an independent American spirit. Instead, all while enriching the very mega corporations that don't give a rip about your local community and that have nothing to do with that fabric of your community when we talked about what it is to be Austin, Texas, what it is to be the state of Texas. And Chili's survives on the corner, and Google and Amazon get great, but every little local mom and pop shop or business that's been there for 30, 50, 70 years gets shredded. That's what I want to push back against. And I will be fighting as hard as I can, nonviolently, fighting as hard as I can against the incoming administration and or my Republican colleagues that want to continue to perpetuate that. And they do so at the peril of stability. And it is important to note that you and I share, and that was the point of what I wanted to do this week with accepting the electors and drop down the rhetoric, a belief that we as America must do this peaceably.